Hey everybody, welcome to Forex Trading Analysis for Synergy FX. It's 8:30 p.m. on June the 13th. It's Wednesday, and today we're going to be looking at a few pairs, but quick risk disclaimer before we get started. So foreign exchange trading carries a high level of risk. Before you decide to trade foreign exchange, we encourage you to consider your investment objectives, your risk tolerance, and trading experience. It is possible to lose some or all of your initial investment, so don't invest money you can't afford to lose. Seek advice from an independent financial or tax advisor, and all information provided is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as trading advice or counsel. So, sort of an interesting day from the euro today. We had a lot of buying today after some news came out earlier in the week. Uh, Earlier in the day, sorry. We had official cash rate come out for the New Zealand dollar, and it was just as expected. The retail sales for the US dollar came out, and it was lower. PPI came a little bit lower than expected, and as well as core retail sales. So a bunch of bad US dollar data meant that people would start to buy the dollar, and the euro did fall for a little bit, but then rose back up. So what this means for me is that the euro is currently in a short-term uptrend, because just based on the fact that we so casually brushed this news off. If you look at a US dollar pair, such as the US dollar Swiss franc, we did have a pretty mild day considering the fact that we had three news breaks come out and they were all to the negative angle, yet the dollar continued to sort of rise just a little bit. So market in an uptrend will shrug off bad news, and this is sort of what happened today. So however long that lasts, I'm not the one to say, but from now my bias for the euro is going to remain to be in the downside. We are currently printing just above the 100 and 200 day moving average, and we did have a pretty nice selling opportunity at around 2 o'clock today, as price did reach overbought territory, and we have rotated down since then. So the euro for me currently is going to remain in a downtrend. I think some people are going to, if you are going to buy it down here, it's a pretty high risk scenario just based on the fact that we do have so much more to fall. Possible targets in the near future for the downside: first of all, the close of the largest down bar, which is at 1.2477, as well as the close of the lowest low, which is at 1.23620. So those are a couple levels in the near term that I will be looking for. Eventually, I do think the euro will reach down to at least 1.12. However, how long that will be in the future, again, I'm not one to say, but we sort of have fallen into a range-bound trading, like I predicted a few videos ago, and this is going to be an interesting point over the next couple days about whether we can break out of this range that's sort of remained in the middle of the gap to the upside. So one thing again to look out for from the euro: we're going to have an extremely volatile weekend as Greece is having elections, and it's going to be one of the most volatile weekends in the last 3 to 6 months. We should have some extreme moves, so if you are going to hold over the weekend, just please make sure that you do have the right side of that trade. I believe it is going to be in the downside, but if the elections happen and people are either happy or not so happy with it, it will fall or rise pretty good amount. So if I was going to hold over the weekend, again, I would be more inclined to hold to the downside, just based on the fact that we do gap so much further into the downside than we do to the upside usually. So this is one thing I will be looking at. For the pound dollar is another pair I do want to look at. We're currently printing below the 200 and 100. We've been in a pretty extreme downtrend. If I throw on a Fibonacci really quick, you'll see that we are just above the 23.6 retracement level, and I do think we could possibly see up to 38.2, but I do again believe that since the US dollar is in an uptrend, and I do think will remain in an uptrend, that we should see lower for this pair as well, possibly down to 1.52 by the end of the month. So a little bit longer term picture for that. In the shorter term, we are printing just below the 100 and above the 200, so some range bound trading might ensue. We could see bounce around between these two levels, and eventually a breakout in one direction will occur. So I'll be on the watch out for that. It does look like the 100 may cross back below the 200, and if we do a sharp fall to the downside tomorrow or the next day, then I will be looking to sell if we do break below the 200-hour moving average. Last pair I would want to take a look at. We had a really nice trade today from the Euro Canadian dollar. If you were watching at around 3 o'clock, we did break into highly overbought territory. RSI hit around 78, and we have sort of rotated down from there. RSI could go back into overbought territory, and again, I will be looking to sell this pair for any more strength if RSI does continue to remain in the upward direction. These are really small trades we're making, so we started to go short up at the top here at around 1.2936, the close, and we were out by the end of this bar. So we did have a pretty significant size, and it did turn out to be a very profitable trade. But like I said, we don't remain in the market that often, at least with our strategy. So that was a nice trade today. So I thought I'd sort of forecast that. If you were watching this pair, it was one of the it was a pair that a lot of pairs would have had this spike at around 3 o'clock today, but this pair is the one that reflected it most in the momentum indicators. So those are the three pairs I want to take a look at today. Thank you very much for watching. Please follow us during the week at Synergy FX, and good luck trading.